Welcome to my channel. Okay, cool. So, hi everybody. For anyone here who probably doesn't even know who we are, I'm Shantae.
And I'm Kevin Sean Hamilton.
And we're the Hamiltons. Dun, 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 dun.
Cute theme
song.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, cool. So today, I'm gonna be sharing my birth story. Again, for anyone who might not know, we have a 1-year-old. Well, she's 15 months next week. This
Friday.
week.
Oh, Friday. It's Friday.
Friday. She'll be 15 months, big girl. So I'm going to be sharing my birth story with her because I'm currently now pregnant. 6 months pregnant, actually. So gonna be having another one in 3 months. So as I prepare, just thinking about all the things that happened when I was preparing for her and the birth and all that, and it was intense. So felt like I wanted to share the story with you guys. So my lovely husband here will be recounting his side of the story as I tell my side of the story. And I also got some questions from some people on Instagram that I'll also be answering, and hopefully this provides some context for somebody else who's pregnant, who's going through the whole process, who wants to know what the birthing process is like, or if you really just fast and want to know how ours did stay. So let's go. I'm gonna start by saying I delivered at UE, University Hospital of the West Indies. That's where we chose to deliver. Someone actually asked how we went about choosing the hospital. Honestly, that is, I think, a whole nother video. But we ended up choosing UA because we thought it was the best place for us at the time. There were a bunch of factors, and the doctor that I wanted to work with was based or stationed at UA, so it kind of just ended up that way. And yes, so the birth story. When I was pregnant with Iyana, that's my first daughter, I was diagnosed with gestational diabetes, which means diabetes that happens for the duration of the pregnancy. Now, because of that, with gestational diabetes, one of the things that can happen is the baby can get really big really quickly. So because of that, they scheduled me for induction on the 38th week instead of waiting out the 40 weeks, just in case the baby got too big and couldn't come out. So yeah, I was induced, which meant that I checked into the hospital. So how are the dates? So I checked into the hospital on the 23rd because I was supposed to give birth on the 24th.
Yeah.
So checked into the hospital on 23rd of June. Was scheduled for induction on the 24th. When I checked in, we went in the morning. We didn't know anything, so we're just like, yo, we're gonna get there early. We're gonna do the things. Ended up checking in and doing nothing. Zero for the whole day of the 23rd, which was very anticlimactic for me. I mean, not that I was expecting no drama or nothing, but I was like, hey, maybe tests and things are gonna happen. No, nothing happened. I watched YouTube, I watched Netflix, and that was it. But the next day on the 24th, when I was scheduled for induction, I got induced using Pitocin. So Pitocin is the thing that they give you for induction to start the contractions, to start the labor. So Pitocin, I don't remember if it was a pill that I got or if they put it in my... Oh, it was a pill. Okay, cool. So they gave me a Pitocin pill tablet, right?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I think it was an insert.
No, it was not. I don't remember. I honestly don't remember.
I think it was an insert.
Okay, maybe it was an insert. So they gave me the Pitocin. I was scheduled to get it at 8 o'clock in the morning, but then because of how UA goes with the rounds and all that, doctors don't actually come on to the ward, because it was a ward, until 10-ish when they finished their rounds. So got my Pitocin at around 10-ish, and by like 10:15, 10:10, the contractions actually started. So one of the questions that I got on Instagram was how did I feel, I think, when these contractions started. When it was kind of weird because it's kind of like having cramps. So I wasn't like 100% sure, but I felt something happening. It was just like a mild pain, and it would come and it would go. It wasn't unbearable. So for the first like couple hours, honestly, it wasn't bad at all. I was watching Netflix. I had all my series queued up. My sister is actually a doctor. I shouldn't say this. Anyways, I had Wi-Fi. So, yeah, I had Netflix and whatever. I still had my data because stuff just in case. I was watching my shows, and gradually it kind of starts to get worse. And the thing about the Pitocin is they give it to you and then they monitor you for about 4 hours to see how you're progressing, and if you haven't progressed to the point of carrying you up to the labor ward, which means you would be over 3 centimeters dilated, then they would repeat the process, meaning they'd give me more Pitocin to further. There we go. So yeah, every hour they would check. Every hour, I think it was, they would check me to see how I was progressing. Honestly, within the first 4 hours, I was barely dilated. I think I probably got to like 1 centimeter. I didn't get to 2 at all. The contractions started to get a little worse. Kevin was there at this point. Because visiting hours was crazy at UA. That's another story. And yeah, so that was pretty. Then they gave me the Pitocin again. By this point, it was mid-afternoon. It was afternoon, late afternoon. Gave me some more Pitocin, and the contraction started to get pretty. Well, they got worse. They got progressively worse. They were close together before, but after I got the Pitocin the second time, they were probably about 3 minutes apart. Do you remember? Like 3 to 5 minutes apart. But the pain itself is what kind of got worse. And again, they watched me for 4 hours to see how I was progressing. By close to the end of the 4 hours, it was nighttime, and I didn't even get to 3 centimeters dilated. So yeah, I think I was like 2 centimeters a little bit, which is not enough for you to get carried up to the labor and delivery. So what they did was do a membrane sweep. Kevin wasn't there for this, but it was horrible. It was ridiculous pain that swept my membrane. After that process, though, I was over 3 centimeters dilated. And
you have to explain what is a membrane sweep.
I'm honestly not 100% sure what it entails per se. I just know that the doctor inserted fingers, because they usually insert your fingers to check the cervix. It's like they insert fingers into
your cervix,
right, or the area, and then kind of literally sweep the area. So yeah, the doctor did that, and it was excruciatingly painful. Not worse than a delivery, but painful. And yeah, I think it was night. It was late in the night because Kevin had left from the last visitation. And yeah, visitation was crazy. But he was staying somewhere really close, so it was easy for him, right in Mona. So it was easy, Hope Pasture. So it was easy for him to come back After they swept my membranes and I got to about 3.5 or so centimeters dilated, then they're like, yeah, all right, carry up to labor and delivery, it's time, blah blah blah. Not time, but up to the labor ward. No, at that point, of course, this is excitement. So I'm excited. I'm just like, oh my God, yes, things happening. I'm excited. Still kind of scared, but happy that something is happening. Kevin made it back in time, went up into the labor ward, and while up there, it took about 11 hours of labor for me to actually deliver.
You deliver what?
Yes, because we got up there at like 10 o'clock in the night, right? Or 9 o'clock. Yeah. It was late.
I know. Well, yeah, late.
It was like 9, yeah.
Labor was 20 something hours, 21 or 20.
Yeah, that would have included the 2 Pitocin.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it was about 21 hours in total.
But yeah. Oh, yeah, you were up in labor what, for a while for them.
Yeah, about 11, because I didn't give birth till the next morning.
Yeah.
But, yes. But got up to the labor ward, AC and Berting, I was pretty grateful for that. And at this point, Kevin was allowed to stay with me in the ward for the rest of the night ish. So because it was a ward, I think there are probably 3 other women in that area. Each of us are sectioned off in our own areas, curtain, whatever, space is bigger, there's more things happening. Kevin was able to stay with me, and yeah, at this point the contractions had gotten worse. So one of the things that we did when we're preparing for the birth was to go to Lamar's class. And Kevin was my coach in Lamar's class. The coach is the person who comes with you, who's supposed to be present at the birth to help you like through the process, to coach you and make sure everything is going okay. So Kevin was with me and he knew what to do. So breathing exercises were like the thing that helped to get me through those painful times, because as I said, at the contractions were probably 3 to 5 minutes apart at a time, if I remember correctly, and gradually getting worse. So Kevin would like coach me through the breathing, and it wasn't horrible until the doctor came in. Now, once you're in labor and delivery, it's expected that things are kind of going to progress faster. So when they came, they checked me out to see how dilated I was. Still wasn't quite 4 centimeters yet, but the doctor decided that they were going to break my waters. Now, when you break your waters, that is when you're in active labor. So before, I was in pre-labor. I don't remember what it's called.
No passive or something like that.
Maybe. Pre-labor. The real labor will start till your water break. And you always hear about people water break, water. So mine didn't break naturally. So the doctor came, broke my water, and that is when everything got real. That is when the contraction started to hurt. That is when everything started to get so intense. I don't know how I made it through that whole process. She broke the water. The breaking of the water wasn't the horrible part. It was the contractions that came after. Because what the water does is it creates a barrier between the baby and your internals. So when the body is, when the sac and thing is contracting, it's not as bad because you have a buffer, the water. But now the water is gone, so it's like the baby's all up in it. It's like, ugh. It was so bad. It was so bad. And the thing is, I didn't have an epidural. There was no epidural. I didn't get any pain from meds specifically, but I was offered morphine. Now, the doctor told me from the get-go that morphine does not help with labor pain. Morphine is not going to help you to get rid of any of the pain. What it will do is help to calm it down and take the edge off. What I will say is the morphine did make me feel light. It did not help with the pain. It also made me feel sleepy. It made me sleepy. So as the labor progressed and as the pain just kept getting worse and I was just getting more dilated, you know, Kevin was just being really supportive and really just coaching me through. And I remember at one point, closer to the end, I literally begged Kevin to go get the doctor or to get somebody and just ask them to cut out the baby because I can't do this. You remember that?
No, I don't.
You don't remember that? Dude, I was like, I cannot do this. I can't do this. I can't do it. Kevin's like, no, you can do this. You are so nice.
You're welcome.
How was it for you?
Yeah?
During the labor, like up in the...
Or in the labor ward?
Yes.
I think the most important thing that had to happen was that I was calm so that I could help you. Never make no sense me excited or whatever or worried or anything. Just be calm and, you know, have a level head so I could talk you through everything. But I mean it's hard. The hard part was, well, two parts. The hard one, so in the labor ward, when you do get up to the labor ward, the fathers of the child or the father of the child is allowed inside. But once the nurses or the doctors are attending to any other patient, then the father has to step outside. So that happened a few times. One of the hard parts was when I had to go outside and the contractions would reach and I could hear Shanti, you know, in pain and in agony. So it was hard for me to hear that and know that I can't do anything. The other hard part, but in addition to that, you know, along the line of pain, was being there and seeing how much pain she was in and can't do anything. So, you know, just had to keep calm and talk her through it. Try as best as possible to comfort her. I don't know how she did it because so every time I tell this story, I have to tell this part. So there's a machine that measures the strength of the contractions. And the strength goes from 0 to 100, literally. It's from 0 to 100. So when the contractions are low, it's between 0 and 10. So you don't really feel anything. But once the contractions begin, then you'll see a spike.
Or like right before it begins.
Right before, as it's about to begin. So I'll be watching that, and when I would see it starting to climb, I would tell Shanti, alright, it's coming, prepare yourself. So I'll give her the breathing exercises and whatever, just warn her. Can't tell you, say, I don't know how she do it, but each of the contraction them go all the way to 100. All the way to 100. And I don't know, I don't know how she do it. And then when them done, she fall asleep.
It was the morphine.
Morphine work. When she done, she fall asleep like nothing happened. You know, and then, you know, whether it's ice she want or water, you can't drink water, you can't eat anything. But, you know, you can chew on ice or whatever. So, yeah, those contractions were heavy. I mean, me feel like me did feel it for watch that thing that the meter go from 0 to 100. And for no say 100 at the top. And flat line for about 15-20 seconds, so she feel all of that. It did rough, it was rough. But we got through it.
Good job, babe.
Big up yourself.
And yeah, about that whole water thing too. Like, okay, so we weren't allowed to, you're not allowed to drink water during this whole process. But as Kevin said, you can eat like ice chips or whatever. So he had the bright idea, thank God, from earlier that he would buy a bag of ice and put it in an igloo, like a little, like one of them like an igloo there. and we'd carry that up there. So because we were expecting assignment from a long time, he did this from earlier in the day. But nothing happened until in the night again. So by the time we were ready to carry it back, for him to carry it up to the labor ward, it had actually melted a little into some water. So I won't lie, like during the thing, I was chewing on some ice, I was sipping on a little bit of that melted water. It was so helpful. But it wasn't much.
Oh, boy.
To know, you know. But yeah, so that helped a whole lot. So if by any chance you would just get ice chips, because even just sucking on the ice chips itself was very calming, and it helped just with the hydration. 'Cause, I mean, as I said, in that labor thing, like the labor for about 11 hours with no water or liquid would be horrible. Anyway, so yeah, that continued on for a while, until around before 8 in the morning. Now when they came to check me, I feel like something else happened before that. Yeah.
Where?
Oh, I don't know. But no. Okay, so yeah, labor. But the actual labor now. So they checked me a little before 8 o'clock in the morning. The next morning, and I was 10 centimeters. I got to the 10 centimeters, dilated. It was time. Thank God. At this point, I literally did not know myself. The pain was ridiculous. And thinking back to it, I honestly cannot remember the pain itself. I just know it hurt a whole lot, and it was very intense. So, when I was 10 centimeters, they carried me to the delivery room. It was a natural delivery, so there wasn't any surgical prep or anything like that. And in the delivery room itself, if I can remember correctly, it was Kevin, the midwife's superior, and there are a few,
There are two other nurses.
like 2 other nurses, yeah. And at this point now, Lamas again kicked in like crazy. Coach Kev was there to tell me what to do. There's a special way you should hold your legs. There's breathing that needs to do. And if you watch those movies and you see the people them a scream out when them a try push the baby out, it's foolishness them doing. Because you're not for do that. When you're pushing out a baby, first of all, you have to wait on the contraction. You can only push when a contraction is there. And once a contraction reaches, then you breathe, take a breath, and then you inhale, and then you use that breath to push, and you push like you're gonna poop. You just push like you're gonna poop. That's what they told me to do. So you push like you're gonna poop. Right. So Kevin was coaching me through all of that. But the only thing that I didn't like was that while I was trying to prepare myself to push the first time, there were a lot of people saying things at the same time, and it was confusing. So like the midwife would say one thing, and then I think her superior was like, wasn't in agreement with the midwife at the time, and I'm just like, like talking to me at the same time. I'm just like, yo, I cannot do what all of you are telling me at the same time. So I kind of tuned everybody out and I was just listening to Kevin. And first push, nothing happened. Well, baby didn't come out, but I think she came down a little more. I think it took at least 3 or 4 pushes for her to come out.
It was 10 minutes over.
So it's about 10. Like, the whole labor was 10 minutes.
The whole delivery.
The whole delivery. Labor was 21 hours. The whole delivery was about 10 minutes. The second push is when I think she came out, and Kevin had wanted to cut the umbilical cord but couldn't because it was wrapped around her neck. So the nurse had to do it before I could push again for her to come out. And yeah, I think it was like 3 pushes if I remember correctly. By the third push, she was out. Um, yeah, and then the nurse literally, or midwife or whoever, literally took her out, put her in front of me because I was lying down, put her in front of me. I don't think she cried right away.
No.
She didn't cry right away.
She took out a while to bring her to because she wasn't crying, so she brought her to some room around the back or something.
She carried her to the room first?
I think, yeah.
Wow. You sure? No, they took them. Didn't they take her to the room when they were cleaning her up? Well, I never took her to another room. It was more like
It
in
was
the
around the
corner.
back.
Yeah.
No, because she never cried first. I think she brought her around there.
Mhm.
So
I don't
whatever
know.
she do for make her start crying, I don't remember.
Probably hit her. Probably did a fix.
I don't know.
Anyways, I thought she carried her right to me. But yeah, she carried her to me at some point because I remember asking, or at least thinking, is she okay? Because I never heard her crying. And then yeah, and then after that they took her to a station over the other side where they cleaned her up. The nurses or the other persons cleaned me up. I delivered the sack and everything, and them clean up and all of that, and yeah, I do, and then wrapped her up. Did I take her? We went down together. You remember? I don't remember.
No, so she came out, then make her cry, and then brought her to you, and then clean her off, and then wrapped her up, put her in the
Bassinet some.
bassinet thing, the baby holder, and wheeled her out to the hall. So I was there for a while with her.
Right.
And then.
But that's when they were cleaning.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Right. And then carried me. Okay. Cool.
Yeah, and then carried it to the room.
Right. They carried me down to the room, and then all 3 of us were in the room together. And I think at that point was when my mommy could come in. She did carry BK. There was BK.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, my mom was
No, we switched. So I went out and mommy went in with the baby.
Oh right, yeah, two people couldn't come in at the same time.
Yeah.
Couldn't be in at the same
Only
time.
2 people allowed, the father of the child and the mother of the mother.
Yeah.
The grandmother.
yeah. So the switch, mommy brought me BK. I was so happy. Baby was okay. She was pretty chill. She really wasn't crying much. What?
I miss it. I wish.
Yeah, listen to him. She was pretty chill. She wasn't crying. She was chilling out for a while. We had to wait in that room for a bit. I got to eat. I honestly don't remember why we were waiting in the room. You know?
I think you had to breastfeed her.
No, but that was why. I didn't breastfeed her until I went back into the ward.
Now my breastfeed her same time in that room.
Oh, I did.
Yeah.
Apparently, I breastfed her.
Same time.
I breastfed her. I honestly don't remember. I don't remember that part.
I think they were preparing our room, so that's why I had to wait.
Oh, okay.
So you were feeding her.
Okay.
Right there.
Well, there you go, guys. And then, yeah, in a blur, I remember then going down to the antenatal ward, which is recovery, basically. And we got lucky because I had gotten a whole room to myself. And yeah, I remember trying to feed her when I got back down to the antenatal ward. That was tricky because Iyana, no, from day one, her latch game was on point, like leech. It hurt so bad, and you're not used to like a baby like latching on to your boobs, so it was like the weirdest thing ever. It was honestly really odd. So it did hurt, and it took a while. I was in the hospital for about 3 days after that because Iyana was very tiny when she was born. She was about 4.9 pounds, which is contradictory because as someone with diabetes, the baby is expected to be big, but she came up pretty small. And so because of that, they also had to watch her weight. So, and just quick fact, within the first 24 hours, your baby's gonna lose ounces. So she did lose some ounces, and that was concerning. So they kept us a little longer to make sure she starts to gain weight before they let us go. And during that process, I had two amazing women who came to help me with the breastfeeding process. Ruth Ann was amazing. Dimitri was amazing. They taught me what to do, how to like do the latch and everything. And honestly, I wouldn't have gotten through that process without them. So I'm super grateful to those women. And yeah, it was painful for sure for the first, aside from the hospital, for the first week, it was pretty painful. In the second week, it was more me trying to acclimate myself to the different positions and how to make sure that she was latching on properly. So it took about at least 2 weeks to like get the swing of things. But after that, honestly, it got better. So within a month, you don't feel it. Or I didn't feel it. Within 2, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, all was well. And yeah, in terms of the birth, that was typical. That was essentially it. I got let go when I did get discharged. It was scary because then we'd be home with this baby on our own. It was scary. Kevin got work time off. He was lucky to get 2 weeks off from work to stay home with me and baby. And yeah. One of the great things with UA is that one of the reasons why we chose to go there as well is that they have this antenatal. They have care. What are nurses called again? I just thought about it. They have nurses who essentially come to your house once a week, every week, to check on you. Domiciliary service. So as a part of the package that they give you when you pay for delivery and all of that is this domiciliary service where they have nurses come to you. So for the first 6 weeks after delivery, they are responsible for you. So if anything at all goes wrong, you go to UA and then we sort you out. But they also send these nurses once a week to check you to make sure that everything is going well. Again, I had a natural delivery, so I didn't have to get dressed or anything like that in terms of the cut or anything. But they checked my weight, they checked my breasts, they checked everything. They weighed the baby, made sure baby was okay. It was great because I did have a blood pressure spike at the end during that time. So it was great that they were there to make sure they take your blood pressure and everything. And I had to actually go up to UE. I had to go back to UE. I don't remember how long after birth it was. Remember? You were back at work, so it would have been more than 2 weeks. Probably like 3 or 4 weeks after I had a blood pressure spike and had to go up to UE. Got some meds and all was well after that. Yeah, Iyana was okay. I think she had gotten slightly jaundice during that time. So they told me what to do to take care of that. And I was home with my mom basically, so I had some support. And yeah, it was good times. The recovery from the birth was so quick. Like I was literally walking around as soon as I gave birth, or like right after I gave birth, as soon as I was back in recovery. So that was great. I didn't have any complications other than the blood pressure. And yeah, I think that's it. I think that's all that happened during the birth story. You can check. Maybe I'll check to see. Let's see what the questions are. To see if I answered all of the questions. But I think I answered a lot of the questions in the story.
Was it hot? Was the delivery hot, and what did it feel like?
The delivery itself was not that bad, honestly, compared to the contractions and thing, the delivery itself wasn't, because as I said, Iyana was small, so pushing her out was the easier part.
What did it feel like?
I don't know what it felt like. Well, okay, I guess you can say it felt like letting out a big poop.
Oh, you talk about is breastfeeding always painful in your experience? You touched on that.
Yes. No, breastfeeding is not always painful. It definitely is painful.
Takes practice.
Yeah, in the initial stages, especially if you're not latching properly, if the baby not latching properly, it is very painful. It can be painful, but it's not always painful. It gets better once you get that like technique down.
Oh, well, you spoke about this pain level, choosing a hospital, Kevin's reaction, and healing process.
Okay, well, yeah, we basically covered all of that. Pain level, ridiculous. Choosing a hospital, definitely going to talk about that in another video because this one is already pretty long. And Kevin gave you his reaction. And yeah, the healing process was pretty
Well,
good.
when Iyana just came out,
Yeah.
my first thing was to check if you had all fingers and all toes. That's my first thing. And then I realized she wasn't crying, so that's why I know that the nurse took her. Cause I never finished checking, but I did a rough thing, you know. Yeah. Then the nurse brought her on, and then she started crying, and then bag of people I said bag of things. So kind of just have to talk to Shantae in her ears, you know.
Yes.
But sweet her up in her ears. That's it. You don't know. Healing process. You talk about the healing process. What was your first thought when labor began? You spoke about that. What were the hardest and easiest parts of Iyana's birth?
The birth itself, the hardest parts were the contractions, honestly. The contractions were horrible.
She said she don't remember.
I don't remember.
What I feel like.
I just know.
Remember 0 to 100.
I honestly don't remember I don't remember what it feel like, but I know it was horrible, and I'm about to do it again. So let's see.
Let's see if you can remember.
Oh God.
The easiest
part. The easiest part was actually delivering her.
Delivery.
Yeah, the delivery was the easiest part because again, one of the things that prepared us most for that time was Lama's class and just knowing exactly what was happening and just knowing what to do. Because if we didn't know all of that and the nurses and the midwife was shouting, doing all of those things, I don't think it would have been such a seamless process.
Oh, you answered this. How were you feeling when you realized you were going into labor and how you dealt with your pain? Did you take meds?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was the morphine.
Yeah, the morphine or the meds did not help with the pain at all. But it helped to calm me down and put me to sleep.
Meds or no meds, well, just said it as well. First thing you said when she came out.
I don't know if I said it, but I know I thought, is she okay? Is everything okay? Because I didn't hear the crying. I don't remember.
I never said it. No, not at all.
Oh, I didn't.
Yeah.
Okay, so in my mind, I was having like a whole dialogue. Like, is she cool?
No, it's lie. It's lie. I think he did mumble it. You're like, yeah, me. You know when you just that workout or whatever, when you, that little mumbled voice,
Yeah.
then, like, is she okay? Something like very soft.
No. Yeah, that's the only thing I remember. Yeah.
In the future, what would you want to share with Iyana about her birth story?
I thought that was such a good question. Yes.
How long she take to come out? How long she take to come out? 21 hours to the point where we were due on the 24th of June.
We were due on that.
And we'll have a set of friends who were due the 25th of June.
Yes.
It so happened that our friend
Went to
delivered the 24th and we delivered 8:20 in the morning on the 25th. 21 hours of labor. You see that how she determined for staying the same way so she determined now, you know. Same way so she determined now, you know. You'd say Ray And she don't want man.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that about her still.
Yeah.
She determined. But yeah, that is what me go and share with her.
I don't know. I don't know if there's anything specific that I would share outside of just the story in general. Like I would want to share with her the whole story, and just how it went. Just even to prepare her for birth when it's her time, if if she has a natural birth too. So yeah.
Did you ever have a moment where you were like, why did I do this? I'm not ready for this.
Yes. Oh god, those contractions, bro. And the thing is, I remember, because I was just telling Kevin, I kept repeating, no, I can't do this, I cannot do this, I can't do this. I asked him to get the doctor, for cut it out. And yeah, I'm sure that was a part of the thought, like, why did we do this? And it's just too late now. It's too late. It has to come out. She has to come out. Yeah,
I think that's it.
Wait, there was one more.
Oh.
Actually, but it never.
Oh, what would you?
No.
Or would you do a water birth for a future child?
I thought of doing a home birth at some point. I don't know. Like I like the idea of it. A home birth. I don't know if I like the idea of a water birth per se. Would you
Yeah.
want? I don't know if I personally would do a water birth. I'd maybe do a home birth. Like if everything was okay, if I didn't have any complications, like if diabetes was nothing at the time. I mean, I don't have diabetes this time around, which is amazing. But water birth, I'm not sure if I'm there. I'm not sure.
Yeah, that's it.
And that's it. So guys, that's my birth story. This video is ridiculously long, but hopefully it was insightful and you got something from it. And yeah, so as I continue to prepare to deliver this one, we're also hoping for another natural birth. And yeah, I mean, whatever happens, it happens. If it's a C-section, then okay. But we just really do hope that it's a natural birth and that everything goes as smoothly as Iyana, maybe less labor. That would be great.
Unnatural labor.
Yeah. So yeah, thank you guys. If you've watched this to the end, you are a trooper. And subscribe, like, and subscribe to my channel. Yes, leave a comment if you feel led.